The friendship between Buck and Eddie was a major theme of 911 Season 8, but the conclusion almost ended their relationship. Although Ryan Guzman's Eddie Diaz was a perfect fit for the 118 in 911 Season 2, Oliver Stark's Evan "Buck" Buckley has been a mainstay of the cast since the beginning. Before his untimely death in 911 Season 8, Buck and Eddie worked under Captain Bobby Nash alongside Henrietta "Hen" Wilson, Howard "Chimney" Hahn, and Ravi Panikkar. Although 911 has suffered horrific injuries, Bobby is the first major character to die. The found family of 911 has been on the verge of disintegrating in the later episodes. Buck was the final member of the 118 to see their captain alive, and Eddie wasn't even in Los Angeles when Bobby passed away. Buck and Eddie got into a heated argument in Don't Drink the Water, 911 Season 8, Episode 17, because both firefighters had complex grief but were unable to deal with it. Despite the hopeful ending to the penultimate episode, the storyline of Buck and Eddie takes a dramatic turn in the 911 Season 8 finale. Eddie received a job offer in El Paso, but his conversation with Hen suggested that the decision would be difficult, according to 911 Season 8, Episode 17. Between Don't Drink the Water and Seismic Shifts, however, Eddie merely chooses to return to Texas rather than concentrating on the conflict of that dilemma. At Eddie's farewell party, Buck similarly declares that he has asked for a transfer. The 118 is supposedly just a number to Buck now that Bobby is dead. In the Season 8 finale of 911, Buck and Eddie were on opposite paths, but an outside force intervenes to save the day. At the last second, Chimney takes over to rally the 118 and remind them of all Bobby did to keep their family safe. In particular, Buck and Eddie's plans are criticized, and Chimney states unequivocally that it would be disrespectful to Bobby for them to depart. Chimney proves the ensemble can grieve Bobby's death and still grow in 911, focusing on the future while preserving the captain's legacy. The rousing speech works, as Buck stays with the 118 and Eddie moves back to LA with Christopher, Gavin McHugh. The issue with Buck and Eddie's storylines in 911 Season 8, Episode 18 is that they were completely independent of each other, despite the two characters being thematically inseparable all season. With every scene they had together, particularly their arguments and unavoidable reconciliations, 911 demonstrated that Buck and Eddie were meant to be. The chemistry between Buck and Eddie was so obviously emphasized in 911 Season 8 that it was conceivable that one of them would confess to having romantic feelings in the season finale. With hardly any interaction or even conversation between Buck and Eddie, Seismic Shifts is a harsh departure. In addition to the fact that its buddy baiting was problematic, it is incomprehensible that Buck and Eddie were so estranged in the 911 Season 8 finale. Buck and Eddie are supposed to be best friends, but in 911 Season 8, Episode 18, they didn't even speak to each other individually while one was about to leave his closest friends and the other was about to take a plane across the nation. It's implied that Buck and Eddie's platonic friendship has returned to normal, even though the two don't even have a moment together in the final conclusion. Of course, there is still hope. Buck kept his eyes on Eddie throughout 911 Season 8, Episode 18, as is customary for the two of them. Buck tells his real estate agent that he enjoyed the character of his previous residence, which was Eddie's house, when the final montage of the finale reveals that he is searching for a new place. Buck's couch trend in 911, which was one of the first narrative justifications for Buck and Eddie's romantic potential, may or may not be echoed by this. Regretfully, it might as well be a pointless line that 911 never brings up again. There might be another barrier at work between Buck and Eddie, even if their close friendship is renewed in 911 Season 9. No one wants to take Bobby's place in 911, but the 118 needs a new captain, and Chimney's game-changing monologue demonstrated his worth. Eddie will probably return to the 118 as a paramedic rather than a regular firefighter if Chimney is appointed fire captain. This means that he would be Hen's partner rather than Buck's. However, 911 runs the risk of destroying one of its greatest pairs if the drama gives up on Buck and Eddie's potential romance and further distances them at work.